22. Most cruel black actors in Hollywood. What if the stars you admired hid the darkest secrets imaginable? From fake hate crimes to shocking assaults, from courtroom convictions to complete meltdowns. These aren't just headlines. They're the chilling truths behind some of Hollywood's most famous black actors. You thought you knew them, but these 22 stories will shatter everything. Prepare to question everything you believed about success, fame, and morality. Before we dive in, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss a story from Legends of Black Excellence, where the truth behind the fame is finally exposed. Jussie Smollett. Once celebrated for his powerful portrayal of Jamal Lyon on the hit series Empire, Jussie Smollett's downfall came as one of the most baffling and disheartening celebrity scandals in recent years. In January 2019, Smollett alleged that he was the victim of a vicious hate crime on a freezing night in downtown Chicago. He claimed that two masked individuals attacked him, hurled racial and homophobic slurs, doused him in an unknown chemical, and looped a noose around his neck. The story immediately sparked outrage and an outpouring of support from public figures, political leaders, and fans worldwide. However, the narrative quickly began to unravel. Investigators found inconsistencies in Smollett's account. Surveillance footage failed to corroborate his timeline, and soon brothers Abel and Ola Osundairo, acquaintances of Smollett, revealed he had orchestrated the attack himself. They provided authorities with a $3,500 check allegedly paid to them by the actor, as well as messages outlining the plan. Prosecutors charged Smollett with multiple counts of filing false reports. Despite maintaining his innocence, he was found guilty in December 2021 on 5 felony counts of disorderly conduct. In 2022, Smollett was sentenced to 150 days in county jail, 30 months of probation, and ordered to pay over $120,000 in restitution and fines. He served only 6 days behind bars before being released pending appeal. Smollett's hoax not only decimated his acting prospects, he was cut from Empire, but also stirred public distrust around genuine hate crime victims. What began as a potential moment of national unity against bigotry turned into a controversial chapter marked by deception, legal drama, and lasting damage to Smollett's name and credibility. Today, his legacy is defined not by talent, but by scandal and betrayal. Chris Brown. Chris Brown emerged as a teenage R&B sensation in the mid-2000s, captivating fans with his vocal range, electrifying dance moves, and undeniable charisma. His self-titled debut album in 2005 quickly soared the charts, launching him into global stardom. However, his image as a heartthrob and pop icon took a devastating blow in February 2009, when news broke of a brutal altercation between him and then-girlfriend Rihanna on the eve of the Grammy Awards. Photos of Rihanna's battered face spread rapidly, sparking widespread outrage. Brown was arrested and charged with felony assault. He ultimately pled guilty and was sentenced to 5 years of probation, 6 months of community labor and domestic violence counseling. While he issued public apologies and claimed remorse, the incident would haunt him throughout his career. Despite continued commercial success with albums like FAME and X, Brown's behavior remained erratic and often violent. In the years following the assault, he was involved in multiple altercations, including a fight with singer Frank Ocean and a bottle-throwing brawl involving rapper Drake in a New York nightclub. He also faced legal trouble for probation violations and was diagnosed with bipolar disorder and PTSD, which he said contributed to his instability. In 2016, he was arrested after a standoff with police at his home, stemming from an alleged threat with a firearm. Though charges were eventually dropped, the incident added to a growing pattern of volatility. Additionally, accusations from various women over the years, including claims of abuse and assault, further eroded public trust. Though he retains a loyal fan base and continues releasing music, Brown's legacy remains deeply polarizing. For many, his talent is forever tarnished by a long record of aggression and unresolved accountability, making him one of the most controversial figures in modern entertainment. Terrence Howard. Terrence Howard rose to prominence through gripping performances in films like Hustle and Flow, which earned him an Academy Award nomination, and later as the magnetic, luscious lion on the television hit Empire. His commanding presence and emotional depth on screen made him a household name. Yet behind the glamour, Howard's personal life has long been marred by troubling allegations of domestic violence and emotional abuse. His first wife, Lori McComas, accused him of physical assault during their marriage, leading to his arrest in 2001. Though the case did not go to trial, the pattern continued. Michelle Gent, his second wife, filed for divorce and a restraining order in 2011, citing multiple incidents of physical and verbal abuse. Gent later alleged Howard punched her during a family vacation in 2013, claims he admitted in court but insisted were in self-defense. In legal documents, Howard acknowledged growing up in a violent household and expressed that breaking that cycle was difficult. Despite these admissions, he continued to land prominent roles, particularly with Empire, which brought him renewed acclaim. However, the accusations followed him, and many fans questioned why Hollywood seemed to overlook such serious issues. His career, while successful, has been persistently overshadowed by these reports. Howard's attempts to redefine himself in later interviews claiming personal growth and change have been met with skepticism. He's also become known for making bizarre scientific and philosophical claims, further distancing him from mainstream credibility. For many, Terrence Howard represents a case where undeniable talent is deeply entangled with a troubling private life, leaving audiences unsure whether admiration for his craft can or should be separated from the harm alleged behind closed doors. Mo'Nique. Mo'Nique made history with her haunting performance in Precious 2009, earning an Academy Award for Best Supporting Actress. But while her portrayal stunned audiences, her relationship with Hollywood turned combative soon after. Rather than bask in the spotlight, Mo'Nique publicly criticized the industry for what she saw as systemic discrimination, especially against Black women in comedy. In 2018, she ignited a major debate by accusing Netflix of offering her only $500,000 for a stand-up special, drastically less than deals given to comedians like Amy Schumer, $13 million, and Dave Chappelle, $20 million. Mo'Nique labeled the offer a product of gender and racial bias and called for a boycott of the platform. The move divided public opinion. Some admired her courage while others felt she was jeopardizing her career. Her outspokenness wasn't limited to Netflix. She clashed with industry titans like Oprah Winfrey, Tyler Perry, and director Lee Daniels, accusing them of blackballing her after she refused to promote Precious at festivals without additional compensation. Mo'Nique claimed she was punished for not playing the Hollywood game, insisting she deserved respect, not silence. These confrontations, though risky, sparked vital conversations about pay equity representation and artistic control. However, they also cost her roles and visibility. For years, she was largely absent from mainstream film and television, surviving off live performances and occasional projects. In recent years, momentum has shifted. She's gradually re-entered the spotlight, appearing in new projects and reclaiming her narrative. Mo'Nique's story is one of resistance where defiance against powerful institutions came at a high price, but also helped redefine how Hollywood treats outspoken Black women demanding fairness. Tracy Morgan. Tracy Morgan, celebrated for his outrageous humor and roles on Saturday Night Live and 30 Rock, built a career on pushing comedic boundaries. But in 2011, during a stand-up performance in Nashville, Tennessee, Morgan's attempt at edgy humor crossed a dangerous line. During his routine, he joked that if his son were gay, he would stab him, a comment that shocked the audience and rapidly sparked nationwide outrage. LGBTQ+ advocacy groups, fellow entertainers, and fans condemned the remarks as not only tasteless, but threatening. At a time when hate crimes and bullying against queer individuals, particularly youth, were making headlines, Morgan's words felt especially damaging. The backlash was immediate. GLAAD and other organizations demanded accountability, prompting Morgan to issue a public apology. He admitted his joke was not funny in any context and expressed deep regret. In the aftermath, Morgan took steps to repair the harm. He met with LGBTQ+ teens and homeless youth to better understand the gravity of his words. These actions were viewed by some as genuine efforts at growth, while others remained skeptical, believing the damage couldn't be undone with a few meetings and statements. While Morgan continued to perform and act, including surviving a near-fatal 2014 car accident that drew public sympathy, the controversy over his homophobic joke remains a stain on his legacy. The incident exposed the thin line between provocation and cruelty in comedy and reminded entertainers that freedom of speech carries responsibility, especially when the words involve already marginalized communities. Kevin Hart. Kevin Hart climbed the ranks of comedy through his relentless hustle, selling out arenas and starring in box office hits like Ride Along and Jumanji. By 2018, he was poised for one of the entertainment industry's highest honors, hosting the Academy Awards. But just days after the announcement, old tweets from 2009 to 2011 resurfaced containing derogatory language and homophobic jokes. The internet exploded in criticism. Among the tweets were comments about not wanting his son to be gay, including one that joked he'd break a dollhouse over his head. The backlash was swift and severe. Critics argued that such views, even if dated, were unacceptable, especially for someone meant to represent an inclusive global event like the Oscars. Initially, Hart refused to apologize again, stating he had addressed the issue in the past and had matured since then. But as pressure mounted and the Academy issued an ultimatum, he voluntarily stepped down from hosting duties, saying he didn't want to be a distraction. Eventually, Hart offered a formal apology, acknowledging the harm caused and stating his commitment to growth. The incident triggered heated debates about cancel culture, forgiveness, and whether someone's past should define their present. Some defended Hart, believing he had evolved, while others felt he dodged accountability for too long. Despite the controversy, Hart's career rebounded. He continued producing content and remained a dominant figure in entertainment. Yet the Oscar fallout stands as a reminder that past actions, especially those rooted in prejudice, can resurface and challenge even the brightest stars to reckon with their words. Wesley Snipes. Wesley Snipes, known for his commanding performances in films like Blade: New Jack City and White Men Can't Jump, was once one of Hollywood's most bankable action stars. With a unique blend of martial arts skill and dramatic depth, he carved out a space few black actors occupied in the 1990s. However, his promising trajectory took a dramatic downturn when he became entangled in one of the entertainment industry's most infamous financial scandals. In 2006, Snipes was indicted on multiple counts of tax fraud. Prosecutors alleged that he had failed to file tax returns from 1999 to 2004, a period during which he earned more than $37 million. He was also accused of using false refund claims and associating with tax protester groups that promoted conspiracies about the IRS. While he was acquitted of felony fraud charges, a federal jury found him guilty in 2008 on 3 misdemeanor counts of failing to file tax returns. In 2010, Snipes began serving a 3-year sentence at a federal correctional facility in Pennsylvania. Despite legal appeals, he remained behind bars until his release in 2013. During that time, his absence from the film industry was palpable. Projects dried up and Hollywood moved on with new faces rising in his former space. Though Snipes later returned in supporting roles, most notably in Coming to America, and indie projects, his superstar status never fully recovered. The scandal tarnished his once pristine image, transforming a respected actor into a cautionary tale about financial negligence. While still admired for his past work, Snipes' legacy remains inextricably linked to his costly legal battles and time behind bars. Tyrese Gibson. Tyrese Gibson began his career as a model and R&B singer before successfully transitioning into acting, notably in franchises like Fast and Furious and Transformers. His smooth persona and emotional ballads won over fans globally. But behind the fame, Tyrese's personal life became increasingly turbulent, much of it unfolding in real time through social media. In 2017, Tyrese posted a tearful Instagram video during a bitter custody dispute with his ex-wife, where he sobbed and asked, "What more do you want from me?" The video quickly went viral and was turned into a meme, but the context was tragic. He was in a legal battle over visitation rights to his daughter and claimed he was being kept from seeing her. The internet, however, was divided. Some empathized, while others questioned his mental health and motives. His erratic online behavior didn't end there. He publicly feuded with Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, blaming him for delaying a Fast and Furious sequel due to a spin-off project. He also ranted about financial struggles, alleged industry betrayal, and feeling marginalized in Hollywood. These emotional outbursts made headlines and cast doubt on his professional reliability. Later, Tyrese admitted that a psychiatric medication he was prescribed had adverse effects on his behavior during this period. He apologized to fans and claimed he was seeking healing and stability. Despite this, the damage to his public image lingered. Casting directors and producers viewed him as unpredictable, impacting his career trajectory. Tyrese's story reflects the double-edged sword of fame in the digital age. What began as vulnerability turned into spectacle, with personal pain laid bare for public consumption. His legacy now straddles the line between raw authenticity and emotional instability. Cuba Gooding Jr. Cuba Gooding Jr. once stood as a symbol of energy and charisma in Hollywood. After his unforgettable role in Jerry Maguire 1996, where he delivered the iconic line, "Show me the money," he won an Academy Award for Best Supporting Actor and became one of the most in-demand black actors of his time. Yet in the years that followed, his legacy shifted dramatically from that of a celebrated star to a man surrounded by a growing number of troubling allegations. Beginning in 2019, Gooding Jr. faced a wave of accusations involving unwanted touching and groping. More than 30 women eventually came forward with allegations that ranged from inappropriate comments to physical contact at nightclubs, hotels, and public events. Several incidents were captured on surveillance video, bolstering the credibility of the claims. Though he initially denied wrongdoing, Gooding was charged in multiple cases. In 2022, he pled guilty to one count of forcible touching, admitting that he had kissed a woman without her consent at a New York nightclub in 2018. As part of a plea deal, he avoided jail time but was ordered to complete alcohol and behavior counseling and avoid further legal trouble for 6 months. The sheer number of accusations and the consistency among the stories cast a dark shadow over Gooding's career. Once a beloved figure, he became emblematic of Hollywood's reckoning with celebrity entitlement and misconduct. Although he continues to act in smaller projects, the scandal severely damaged his reputation, leaving many former fans disillusioned. In the public's eyes, his fall from grace wasn't just about one incident. It was about a pattern that went unchecked for far too long. Bill Cosby. For decades, Bill Cosby was regarded as a national treasure. Through The Cosby Show, which aired from 1984 to 1992, he crafted an image as the ultimate father figure, wise, funny, and morally upright. Beyond television, he broke racial barriers in entertainment, promoted education, and received honorary degrees from over 60 institutions. But behind that wholesome persona lay a sinister reality that stunned the world. Beginning in the mid-2000s and gaining momentum in the 2010s, dozens of women, more than 60 in total, accused Cosby of sexual assault, often involving drugging victims before attacking them. The allegations dated back to the 1960s, but were long ignored or silenced due to his fame and power. The tide shifted in 2014 when comedian Hannibal Buress publicly called out Cosby during a stand-up routine, reigniting public scrutiny. In 2018, Cosby was found guilty in Pennsylvania of 3 counts of aggravated indecent assault against Andrea Constand, a former Temple University employee. He was sentenced to 10 years in prison. The conviction marked a significant moment in the Me Too era, proof that even icons could be held accountable. However, in a shocking reversal, The Pennsylvania Supreme Court overturned the conviction in 2021, citing a prior agreement with a prosecutor that should have prevented the case from going to trial. Cosby's release was met with fierce debate. Many victims and advocates were devastated, while some supporters claimed he had been wronged by the legal system. Though he maintains his innocence, public perception remains irrevocably altered. His accolades were rescinded, and institutions that once celebrated him severed all ties. Once revered as America's dad, Bill Cosby is now widely viewed as one of the most infamous figures in modern entertainment history. Terry Crews. Terry Crews built a career on being both physically imposing and infectiously charismatic. From the NFL field to comedic roles in White Chicks and Brooklyn Nine-Nine, he became a beloved figure in entertainment. In 2017, his powerful testimony about being sexually assaulted by a Hollywood executive made him a leading male voice in the #Me Too movement, earning widespread respect. Yet in 2020, his reputation took a hit, not for what he did, but for what many believed he failed to do. When actress Gabrielle Union came forward with allegations of a toxic, racist culture behind the scenes of America's Got Talent, many expected Crews, who also hosted the show and had previously positioned himself as a supporter of justice and equity, to back her claims, or at least show solidarity. Instead, in a now infamous Today Show interview, Crews stated that he had never experienced anything negative at NBC and praised the network. "That was not my experience," he insisted, leaving Union and many supporters feeling betrayed. The backlash was swift. Critics, fellow celebrities, and fans accused Crews of discrediting Union's experience, thus undermining broader conversations about systemic bias in the entertainment industry. Social media was flooded with calls for him to reflect on the responsibilities of allyship, especially given his own advocacy. Crews eventually apologized on Twitter, acknowledging that he had messed up and still had much to learn. While some accepted his contrition, others found it insufficient. The incident served as a sobering reminder that good intentions can falter without consistent support, and that true allyship means listening, not deflecting. For Crews, a man once seen as a moral compass in Hollywood, the controversy revealed the complexities and consequences of staying neutral in moments that demand solidarity. Nick Cannon. Nick Cannon's journey through the entertainment world has been nothing short of prolific. A child star turned television host, actor, comedian, and entrepreneur, Cannon built a multifaceted empire. He was the creative force behind Wild 'N Out, hosted America's Got Talent, and ran several business ventures. But in 2020, his voice used on his own podcast, Cannon's Class, brought his flourishing career to a halt. During an episode, Cannon made remarks that were widely condemned as anti-Semitic. He spoke about conspiracy theories, referenced pseudo-scientific beliefs about race, and made sweeping generalizations about Jewish people. The response was immediate and severe. Viacom CBS, the media conglomerate that aired Wild 'N Out, cut ties with him. Other business partners followed suit, and public figures demanded accountability. Initially, Cannon defended his statements, claiming he was misinterpreted. However, as criticism mounted, he pivoted. He issued a formal apology, expressed remorse, and committed to learning. He met with Jewish leaders, visited Holocaust museums, and participated in educational programs. Several individuals within the Jewish community acknowledged his effort, and in time, some professional relationships were restored. Still, the incident left a dent in Cannon's public persona. While he eventually returned to television, including reclaiming his hosting role on The Masked Singer, his brand was permanently altered. The controversy exposed the dangers of platform misuse, especially when words amplify harmful ideologies. Nick Cannon's fall and partial redemption illustrate how even the most seasoned entertainers must reckon with the weight of their influence. His experience serves as a cautionary tale about responsibility in the era of instant broadcast and the power of sincere accountability when trying to rebuild from public failure. Michael B. Jordan. Michael B. Jordan has long been one of Hollywood's most respected leading men, earning admiration for his performances in Fruitvale Station Creed and Black Panther. Known for maintaining a clean public image and steering clear of controversy, Jordan rarely found himself in the headlines for the wrong reasons until 2021, when a branding decision ignited an unexpected firestorm. The controversy centered around his launch of a rum brand named Jouvert, a term with deep historical and cultural roots in Caribbean tradition, particularly in Trinidad and Tobago. Jouvert refers to the beginning of Carnival, a celebration tied to emancipation from slavery. For many, it is not just a word, but a sacred expression of heritage, resilience, and identity. When Jordan's brand hit the market, Caribbean citizens and members of the diaspora swiftly criticized the move as cultural appropriation. They argued that using the name to sell alcohol without any visible cultural ties or acknowledgement was disrespectful. Prominent figures, including Trinidadian rapper Nicki Minaj, publicly urged Jordan to reconsider the branding. In response, Jordan issued a sincere apology via Instagram. He expressed regret, acknowledged the concerns raised, and vowed to change the name of the rum brand. "I just want to say on behalf of myself and my partners, our intention was never to offend or hurt a culture we love and respect," he stated. Though the issue was resolved diplomatically, the incident served as a reminder that even well-intentioned celebrities can misstep when commercial interests intersect with cultural sensitivity. For someone previously seen as unproblematic, Jordan's quick and respectful response helped preserve his reputation. But it also highlighted the need for greater cultural awareness in global branding decisions, even among the most admired figures. Kanye West, Ye. Kanye West, now legally known as Ye, has never shied away from controversy, but in 2022 he crossed lines that alienated even his most loyal supporters. Once hailed as a musical genius with game-changing albums like The College Dropout and My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy, Ye's creative brilliance became increasingly overshadowed by erratic behavior and offensive rhetoric. The breaking point came when Ye began publicly making anti-Semitic remarks. In a series of interviews and social media posts, he expressed admiration for Adolf Hitler and repeated harmful stereotypes about Jewish people, igniting global outrage. The consequences were swift and severe. Adidas, Gap, Balenciaga, and his talent agency CAA all terminated their partnerships. According to Forbes, Ye lost an estimated $1.5 billion in business deals in less than a week, effectively stripping him of his billionaire status. Social media platforms, including Instagram and Twitter, suspended his accounts due to policy violations. Public figures across industries, from entertainers to politicians, condemned his actions. Ye attempted to defend his comments as free speech and later claimed he was being silenced, but the damage was done. His rants, filled with paranoia and conspiracy theories, were widely viewed as hateful and dangerous. What made the situation more unsettling was Ye's past advocacy for mental health awareness. Diagnosed with bipolar disorder, he had previously spoken about his struggles. However, critics argued that mental illness does not excuse bigotry, and using it as a shield only added confusion and stigma to the conversation. Kanye West's implosion marked one of the most dramatic downfalls in pop culture history. Once considered a visionary, he became a cautionary tale of how power, ego, and unchecked speech can lead to self-destruction. The man who once shaped music and fashion trends now battles to salvage any remnants of public trust. Jamie Foxx. Jamie Foxx, an Academy Award-winning actor and multifaceted entertainer, has long been regarded as one of Hollywood's most versatile talents. From his gripping performance in Ray to comedic brilliance in The Jamie Foxx Show and blockbuster roles in films like Django Unchained and Baby Driver, Foxx built a career marked by range and charisma. But in April 2023, his name made headlines not for a new role, but for his sudden and unexplained medical emergency. While filming the Netflix movie Back in Action in Atlanta, Foxx was hospitalized under what his family described only as a medical complication. The lack of details immediately stirred concern. Days turned into weeks without concrete updates, prompting widespread speculation. Rumors ranged from a stroke to more dire scenarios, including baseless conspiracy theories about cloning and foul play on set. Fox's inner circle remained extremely private, fueling online theories. Conflicting reports surfaced, some suggesting he was recovering at home while others claimed he remained hospitalized. The silence felt ominous, particularly for a public figure known for his lively social media presence and high-energy performances. Finally, after weeks of absence, Fox addressed fans via a short social media post in July, assuring them he was recovering and appreciative of the prayers and support. However, he stopped short of explaining what happened. The vagueness left many fans relieved yet unsatisfied, unsure whether they were being reassured or shielded from the truth. Though his recovery was welcomed, the ordeal highlighted the complex relationship between public figures and private health matters. For someone so deeply embedded in pop culture, Jamie Foxx's unexplained disappearance and return remain one of the most enigmatic chapters in his career, a rare moment when silence spoke louder than any performance. Omar Epps. Omar Epps made a name for himself with memorable roles in films like Love and Basketball, and as the intense, methodical Dr. Eric Foreman on the long-running medical drama House. Known for his calm, composed demeanor both on screen and off, Epps cultivated an image of professionalism and integrity throughout his decades-long career. That image, however, took a surprising hit in 2017. During the filming of a psychological thriller, Epps was sued by co-star Donzalee Abernathy, who alleged that he caused her serious physical harm during a scene that was not meant to involve violence. According to the lawsuit, Epps deviated from the script and allegedly struck Abernathy in the face and elbowed her hard enough to fracture her arm. She claimed there had been no warning or choreography indicating such physicality was required in the scene. Epps and his legal team denied any intent to harm, insisting the injury was accidental and part of the unpredictability of filming a physical performance. The incident did not lead to criminal charges, and the case was settled out of court. Though details of the settlement remain confidential, such agreements often involve financial compensation without an admission of guilt. While the story quickly faded from major headlines, it nevertheless introduced an unexpected blemish on Epps's otherwise clean reputation. For fans who had long viewed him as a disciplined and respectful figure, the lawsuit raised uncomfortable questions. Was it a simple accident on set, or a lapse in professionalism that resulted in real harm? Although Epps continues to work in television and film, the episode serves as a quiet reminder that even those with seemingly spotless careers can find themselves at the center of serious allegations, proof that Hollywood reputations, no matter how carefully built, can shift in an instant. Lawrence Fishburne. Lawrence Fishburne has long been revered as a powerhouse of American cinema. With commanding performances in the Matrix trilogy, Boys in the Hood, and What's Love Got to Do with It, he established himself as a serious, respected actor known for gravitas and control. But in 2010, Fishburne's reputation faced an unexpected personal challenge not due to his own actions, but because of his daughter's highly publicized and controversial life choice. At age 19, Montana Fishburne announced she was entering the adult film industry. She claimed the decision was strategic, citing the fame of Kim Kardashian as inspiration. "I've watched how successful Kim became, and I think a lot of it was due to the release of her sex tape," she told media outlets. The news immediately caught fire, partly due to her last name, one associated with dignity, talent, and professionalism in Hollywood. Reports suggested Lawrence was blindsided by her decision and devastated by the media frenzy. While he never made extended public comments, sources close to the family claimed he felt ashamed and hurt, viewing her choice as a rejection of the values he tried to instill. Their relationship reportedly became strained, with Montana asserting her independence and Fishburne distancing himself from the spotlight during the height of the scandal. Montana's career in adult entertainment didn't take off as she had hoped. Over time, she disappeared from public view, and the controversy faded. Yet for Fishburne, the ordeal left an indelible mark. It wasn't a scandal he caused, but one he couldn't escape. For a man who had always controlled his professional image with care and intention, being thrust into headlines for such deeply personal family matters was a painful and public rupture in an otherwise disciplined legacy. Tyler Perry. Tyler Perry is one of Hollywood's most financially successful filmmakers, a self-made mogul who turned stage plays into a billion-dollar empire. Best known for creating the loud and comedic Medea character, Perry has produced dozens of films, TV shows, and theatrical works, most of which cater to a loyal black audience craving representation. Yet for all his accolades, Perry has also drawn harsh criticism for the very stories he tells. Critics and fellow creatives have accused him of perpetuating harmful stereotypes about black people, particularly in his depictions of women. In many of his scripts, black female characters are portrayed as either long-suffering martyrs or caricatures overly religious, submissive, or victims of abuse. Some male characters, in contrast, are either irredeemably evil or unrealistically saint-like, contributing to what critics call a lack of narrative complexity. The character Medea, beloved by many for her outlandish humor and no-nonsense attitude, has also been divisive. Some see her as a tribute to strong Southern matriarchs, while others argue she reinforces regressive tropes about older black women being loud, aggressive, and violent. These portrayals have led some writers and activists to question Perry's long-term impact on how black people are represented on screen. Perry, for his part, has defended his creative choices. He insists that his work is rooted in personal experience, cultural truth, and spiritual healing. He also points to his groundbreaking achievements, including owning one of the largest film studios in the U.S., and his commitment to hiring black actors, writers, and crew members, many of whom had been shut out of mainstream Hollywood. Still, the debate surrounding his legacy endures. Is Tyler Perry a revolutionary storyteller providing a platform for marginalized voices, or is he recycling harmful archetypes under the guise of empowerment? The answer depends on who you ask. But one thing is clear: few figures have influenced modern black cinema more positively or controversially than Tyler Perry. Isaiah Washington. Isaiah Washington once held a prominent place in television history, starring as Dr. Preston Burke on ABC's Grey's Anatomy, a role that earned him acclaim for portraying a brilliant yet complicated surgeon. But in 2006, an off-screen conflict involving a homophobic slur would unravel his rising success and ignite one of TV's most talked-about scandals. During a heated confrontation on set, Washington reportedly referred to co-star T.R. Knight using a derogatory term. The incident was initially kept quiet, but after media leaks and Knight's public coming out, the story exploded. Making matters worse, Washington repeated the slur during a press conference at the Golden Globe Awards, while trying to deny ever using it, an ironic move that only deepened the controversy. The backlash was swift and unforgiving. Advocacy groups like GLAAD condemned his actions, co-stars distanced themselves, and ABC took decisive action by firing Washington at the end of the show's third season. The decision marked a rare moment in network television where consequences followed public pressure over homophobia. Washington later apologized and participated in outreach efforts with LGBTQ+ organizations. He insisted he was misunderstood, claiming his use of the slur had been taken out of context. Despite his attempts to rehabilitate his image, the damage had already been done. His once promising career suffered a sharp decline, and he struggled to land leading roles in mainstream productions. Years later, he briefly returned to Grey's Anatomy for a guest appearance to close out Sandra Oh's character arc, but it was clear the show and the industry had moved on. For many, Isaiah Washington's story is a cautionary tale of how one moment of recklessness, particularly involving marginalized groups, can overshadow years of hard-earned success and talent. Stacey Dash. Stacey Dash rose to fame as Dionne in the 1995 cult classic Clueless, embodying the chic, sharp-tongued best friend with effortless charisma. Her role turned her into a pop culture icon, and for years she remained a familiar face in television and film. But by the 2010s, Dash's career took a hard pivot from Hollywood starlet to outspoken political commentator, And that shift came with serious backlash. Dash joined Fox News in 2014 as a cultural pundit, where she gained notoriety for her controversial and often inflammatory statements. One of her most infamous remarks came in 2016 when she suggested eliminating Black History Month and BET, Black Entertainment Television, claiming they promoted segregation. "Either we want to have segregation or integration," she argued. Her comments were met with fierce criticism from fans and celebrities alike, who accused her of turning her back on the Black community. Rather than backing down, Dash doubled down on her views, aligning herself with conservative politics and repeatedly dismissing movements advocating racial equity. Her views were seen by many as divisive, and the actress who once represented stylish, empowered Black youth now found herself increasingly isolated from the entertainment circles that once embraced her. Fox News eventually severed ties with her in 2017, citing a desire to rebrand its programming. In later interviews, Dash expressed regret over the tone of her past remarks, admitting that personal struggles and unresolved anger fueled her rhetoric. She even acknowledged feeling used at times by political media. Though she's tried to make a return to acting, public perception remains split. For some, Stacey Dash's political alignment made her a figure of betrayal. For others, she's simply a cautionary example of how polarizing opinions can dismantle a career once built on charm and relatability. Orlando Brown. Orlando Brown once lit up television screens as Eddie Thomas on Disney Channel's That's So Raven, where his comedic timing and charm made him a fan favorite among young audiences. In the early 2000s, he was a rising teen star with undeniable potential, appearing in films like Major Payne and voicing characters in animated series. But after the show's success faded, Brown's life spiraled into a series of troubling and increasingly erratic events that played out in the public eye. Over the span of a decade, Brown was arrested multiple times for charges ranging from drug possession to domestic battery and resisting arrest. Beyond his legal troubles, it was his bizarre public behavior that caused widespread concern. He posted rambling videos online, made strange claims about fellow celebrities, including alleged relationships that were widely dismissed, and appeared disoriented during interviews. These episodes raised alarm about his mental health, with fans and media outlets questioning whether he was receiving the care he needed. In 2020, Brown shocked many when he appeared at a faith-based recovery center and announced he had turned his life around. He claimed to be sober, found faith in Christianity, and was working on healing. His speech was coherent, heartfelt, and a stark contrast to his previous public appearances. For some, it was a hopeful sign that he was on a path to redemption. Despite these efforts, public trust remained fragile. While many sympathize with his struggle, others see him as a cautionary tale about child stardom and the lack of mental health support in the entertainment industry. Orlando Brown's story is tragic not for a singular offense, but for the long, painful unraveling of a young talent under the spotlight with recovery still uncertain. R. Kelly. R. Kelly, once hailed as the king of R&B, is now one of the most disgraced figures in music history. With a career spanning decades, Kelly produced chart-topping hits like I Believe I Can Fly, Ignition Remix, and Step in the Name of Love, shaping the sound of 90s and early 2000s R&B. However, throughout his rise, dark rumors followed accusations of sexual misconduct that were repeatedly dismissed or ignored by the public and industry leaders. Those whispers turned into deafening outcries in the late 2010s. In 2019, the documentary Surviving R. Kelly aired, featuring first-hand accounts from numerous women who accused him of manipulation, abuse, and imprisonment. Many were underage when their encounters began. The details were chilling: physical isolation, psychological control, coercion, and sexual exploitation, often facilitated by an entourage that enabled his behavior for years. Soon after legal action followed, Kelly was arrested and charged with multiple crimes, including sex trafficking, racketeering, and child pornography. In 2021, a New York court found him guilty on 9 federal counts, marking a groundbreaking verdict in the era of #MeToo. In 2022, he received a 30-year prison sentence. A separate federal case in Chicago resulted in additional convictions. Kelly's downfall triggered massive institutional responses. Music platforms muted his presence, collaborators distanced themselves, and several awards and honors were rescinded. The contrast between his celebrated public persona and monstrous private behavior shocked even longtime fans. His story isn't just about an individual's crimes. It exposed a system that protected fame at the expense of young victims. R. Kelly's legacy, once defined by love ballads and vocal talent, now stands as a brutal reminder of how power can be used to silence, manipulate, and destroy lives until justice finally intervenes. The stories of these 22 black celebrities remind us that fame can hide disturbing truths. From criminal convictions to cultural controversies, each case challenges how we view power, responsibility, and redemption. While some have sought forgiveness or healing, others left behind legacies forever marked by scandal. At Legends of Black Excellence, we believe in examining the full picture, praise where it's due, and accountability where it's earned. But what do you think? Can talent ever outweigh cruelty, or should consequences be permanent? Let us know your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more honest conversations.